Welcome back to r/Neighbors from Hell, where people share stories about their crazy neighbors, and if you are new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe to join our amazing community, and without any further ado, let's dive right into the stories. And the first one is titled Open Letter to My Neighbors. And just to let you know in advance, this is a story that spans over multiple updates, so please watch until the end. Anyway, to the sour-faced retired couple next door. I have never said a bad word to you, only hello or a smile in passing. I'm a model neighbor in my opinion. Usually always out or away on business, no friends over for parties, no music blasting, and I barely even use my TV. I don't have any pets, so no dogs barking all day long or cats fouling in your garden, but this still does not appease you. I am evil and out to get you for some reason. I have problems, your words. When you bang on your adjoining bedroom wall for several minutes at 6 AM every morning in the hope that you will wake me, I am already up. When you scowl at me as I pass you in the street, it doesn't intimidate me, it makes me laugh and my family laugh with me. When you have loud conversations about me with other neighbors outside my front door, it does not upset me, it shows me what kind of people you are. You have repeatedly trespassed onto my gardens, causing criminal damage by cutting down trees and killing planted grass. You have harassed me by banging on my door drunk, shouting at me and accosting my visitors outside my door. Let's not forget the endless passive-aggressive notes through the door about menial things like a gate being left open. Your out-of-control German Shepherd went for my 3-year-old niece as she was leaving my house and you did not apologize. I have not involved the police or a lawyer to give you a chance. This is me being the kind person that I am. I also know neither of you would find it easy being incarcerated because of your age, 60 to 70 for context. I also hope that this is all down to some kind of mental health problems and you are not just cold-hearted psychopaths. I am moving house within the next few months as I am currently 5 months pregnant and need extra space. I also don't want to bring a newborn baby into the horrendous environment you both create for me. I hope that your next neighbors will be antisocial criminals that intimidate you, keep you awake all night with noise and litter the streets with their mess. I will never know why you chose to launch a tirade of weird abuse against me. I will hold the biggest celebration when I move out and you will never cross my mind again. Yours sincerely, the kind neighbor you've been harassing for 4 years. And guys, as I mentioned before, this story is far from over. And in addition, I would like to know, have you ever had any neighbors that harassed you in one way or another? Feel free to share in the comments or on r/Ripe Stories. And the next update is titled Boxing Day Building Work. My neighbors have got builders in whilst appearing to be away on holiday or something. It is Boxing Day here in the UK, which I've always thought is a bank holiday / national holiday. Our construction rules given by our local council states no work permitted on Sundays or bank holidays. I really didn't expect to get woken by drilling and hammering at 6:30 AM. Luckily I won't be home all day as I am visiting family, but it is definitely put a dampener on the festivities to say the least. I don't want to be the neighbor that complains, so hopefully someone else says something. And guys, I really get the feeling that OP is way too nice. But unfortunately, those are the kinds of people that evil people try to take advantage of. Next update, does anyone else experience strange behavior from their neighbors? I have posted an open letter on here to said neighbors before, as we like to say in England, mine are downright barmy. I studied psychology a lot when I was younger and they are quite the subjects. 60-year-old pre-retirement couple with a large dog they use for security. I have never seen any family or friends visit them when I've been in, even at Christmas and other occasions. They must have alienated everyone like they have done with their neighbors. Everyone here calls their house Fort Knox. Here are their strange behaviors. Please share your experiences so I know I'm not alone. The husband is very security conscious when there's no need for it. We live in a quiet area just off a busy main road littered with businesses and their CCTV. I researched past crimes and there has never been any recorded break-ins at / around our homes. I have managed to count 10 cameras on his house in total, 5 of which overlook my property and gardens. There may be more that I cannot see. I'm unsure whether they record audio too, although I wouldn't be surprised. I cannot leave or enter my house in any direction without being recorded by their cameras. I know for sure that he uses them to watch my comings and goings, as I've had a note through the door when a visitor left the front gate open. But neighbors were out at the time, so they could only have known from studying the CCTV footage. They have a crap heap car and our houses are fairly small, so I doubt he's protecting a fortune. He has not displayed any signs warning the public of said CCTV, so it would never be admissible in court anyway due to our laws. So it is a huge waste of time and money if he's expecting to catch a criminal. The husband also has some strange obsession with what the whole street and other people's houses look like. He even went as far as hiring some young men to trespass onto a worldwide known food store's private land and cut down protected trees because they were hanging out into his road. The fence already had a hole in it, so they couldn't be done for breaking and entering. He has trespassed on my gardens to remove trees and kill flowers on multiple occasions. He likes to sweep the pavement and road outside our houses. He also puts traffic cones out to mark his parking space, public road with no markings. Here in England we have no ownership over public pavements or the road outside our homes unless there's a driveway and dropped curb. Which there isn't in this circumstance. We pay council tax for them to clean the pavements and roads. I presume because of his age and the fact he owns his house, he thinks he's the messiah of the street. The most ironic thing is that we all share a private road around the back of their houses, which we all have a small patch of. Neighbor has a habit of parking on my patch, so clearly only one rule for him, etc. The wife clearly is not the scared one, as she goes out at 6 AM every day by herself to acquire a newspaper and bottle of wine. I've walked into her a few times when I've been leaving for work and hear the door go at the same time every morning. It is dark, so she is walking about by herself in pitch black conditions. Makes me think that the CCTV is not for criminals and is just for spying. And I have to say guys, these neighbors would be the perfect inhabitants of an HOA. Or rather, they sound like the kind of people that would start an HOA. Anyway, if you have watched until here and maybe hate HOAs, then feel free to post some star emojis in the comments and maybe even like the video if you want to support the channel. Thank you so much in advance, it really means the world to me and I am very grateful to have your daily support. And the next update to the neighbor's story. It is titled Fed Up with Abusive Neighbors. I have found a lot of comfort in this subreddit and it is a good way for me to let loose on my feelings. I am honestly losing my mind with my neighbors. I've never known behavior like it from adults. Our front gardens are open plan and we share a path with a gate to our front doors. The houses are quite old, so there's probably some unwritten rule that we cannot fence off our own gardens. There is shared ownership of the path and gate, but the husband next door built a new gate and installed it recently. Ever since then it is now his gate in his eyes. I rent the house and as far as I'm aware, he did not approach the landlord about the gate or ask for any contribution. I presume he's done that on purpose so he can have more control. My neighbors clearly don't like sharing the space. They really shouldn't have bought a house with shared space if they cannot live along other people nicely. Since the gate was installed, I've been the victim of endless gate-related harassment and abuse. I've had visitors bellowed and cursed at for not locking the gate. I've had passive-aggressive unsigned notes through the door to remind me that he spent time and money on the gate, so we must do as he says. The latest and worst of the aggression is that the husband has taken to watching over it like a hawk. If I have a delivery driver come, Amazon and the likes, and they shut the gate but don't put it on the latch, then he goes flying out instantly in a fit of rage. He swears at them, telling them to lock the gate and uses racist terms when it is a person of color like myself. It's happened 3 times now in the past few weeks. I feel like reporting to the police, but I'm unsure if people that are not the victim can actually report it. In the UK, there are no laws saying you have to lock gates on residential properties. It is not written into my tenancy agreement, so I don't have to lock it, but I do so out of courtesy. It is a stupid bolt action gate, it does not spring shut and wastes time. Luckily, I have a viewing on a new house this week and hopefully I will be accepted to rent it so I can get out of this hellhole ASAP. I hate living next to such aggressive and clearly miserable people. I'm a model neighbor and would love to have a neighbor like myself. I am so quiet, I don't play music, I rarely even use my TV and never have many visitors, but that is because of the neighbors. I'm really hoping they will get their karma by having a noisy and antisocial family move in after me. And the final update to the story, it is titled, I am finally moving. I have posted here before about my experience with my neighbors. They have seriously damaged my mental health over the past few years. I applied for a new house in a nice family area and my application was successful. I cried, feeling so much relief and happiness. Not only have I had an awful experience with the neighbors, my current home is falling apart and the landlord has been so neglectful. I've had the local environmental health send them an improvement order for multiple hazards identified by the government standards, but nothing has been done in months. I hope this shows to anyone that is struggling with where they currently live that there's light at the end of the tunnel. I've been trying to move for the past 2 years and it's been so stressful. I cannot wait to create a nice home with a comfortable atmosphere for my family. Thank you to everyone that has supported me on this subreddit. And Ripe Stars, I gotta say, I have kind of mixed feelings here because on the one side I'm pretty happy that OP can finally leave that awful place and leave the neighbors behind. However, it also does not really seem that productive to me that the only solution to such awful neighbors is to move out by yourself. But I guess sometimes you just don't have any other choice. And the last one is titled, Parking Spot Causes Divorce. Okay, so this is not a story about me, this is about my neighbor. This is exactly how he told me this story and I witnessed portions of it for myself. Backstory, my neighbor who we will call David, not real name, and my other neighbor who we will call Karen, not real name, often got into arguments about who owns what part of the property. They live right next to each other, so this is understandable. Karen was known for being a Karen, so this explains a lot. Karen had just got engaged with her boyfriend who we will call Kyle, not real name, who went over to her house a lot, like every other day, and would spend the night there. We saw his car parked there a lot. Kyle would park his car in front of David's lawn because Karen is part of a large family, so they have many cars. Therefore, there's no room in the driveway. David got a new camper recently, one of those massive ones that are practically buses. They needed a place to park it because they didn't feel comfortable leaving it in a public space, but Kyle's car was there. Around this same time, news was spreading around my neighborhood that Kyle and Karen had gotten married. Kyle moved in with Karen and started using the front of David's lawn as his assigned parking spot. He was told that it was part of her property because Karen was a dummy-dumb and didn't understand that property lines exist. There was an incident in the past with a bench and another with a few trees. Eventually David got tired of Kyle parking where they wanted to park their camper. He had been having to park it down the road in the public camper places or whatever they are called. He began plotting his revenge. His plan was to park the camper in front of Kyle's car so that he would have to pull out backwards. This way he would have to struggle to get his car out between one of Karen's siblings' cars and the camper. When this plan happened, Kyle came running up to David's door and began shouting the usual, "I'm calling the cops," and whatnot. When David did not answer, he tried to inch his way out. He ended up bumping into the car behind him and putting a good-sized dent in it. He instantly ran up to Karen's sibling and began apologizing and blamed it on David. Now, Karen's entire family was mad at David. David said he saw this through the window and was laughing hysterically. Karen actually managed to think logically for once and blamed it on Kyle, but it was okay and insurance will cover it or something like that. Kyle began going off on Karen about how insurance would charge him for the damage, so they ended up fighting about insurance or whatever. This whole thing unraveled outside David's house, so he listened in through the open window. They then came up to his house. David answered the door and all of them but Karen instantly started going off about how he caused a dent in Karen's sibling's car. He said that Kyle's car was parked on his property and that he needed to park his camper somewhere. He dug out the property line drawing or whatever and showed them all. Karen was pissed. Karen said that he had drawn those lines himself and that the actual lines were farther to the left, giving her more property and expanding past where Kyle was parked. Keep in mind, Kyle was parked by the windows of David's house. Clearly on David's property. At this point I could hear yelling from a few houses down and walked over to listen for that sweet internet karma. Karen ended up calling the cops because David was disturbing the entire neighborhood. 2 cops showed up in a car and instantly sided with David after reviewing the property lines. Karen was fined over $700 for misusing 911. Kyle ended up having to pay $900 for the damages done to the other car. Apparently he broke part of the engine or something. That's not all though. Karen and Kyle ended up divorcing because Karen lied to him and said he was on her property. And Karen saying that it was her house so she could lie if she wanted and other things of the sort. Dealing with horrible and loud neighbors that are painting me as a racist in Texas. How do I protect myself legally? I have lived in my apartment for 3 years and never had a real problem with my neighbors. A few months ago, some new people moved in the apartment above mine. The last few months have been hell. They have parties every night, even weeknights, that never end before 3 AM. They are loud way past our community quiet hours. They have some sort of bass they like to turn on that literally shakes the ceiling, their floor. I have recorded it, it wakes up my 2-year-old. Do you know how hard it is to get a 2-year-old back to sleep during a loud upstairs party? They leave trash outside their door for days so that smells and drips down. It has ruined my outdoor rug. I took pictures. They drop cigarette butts from above right onto my porch. They regularly park in the reserved spot I pay for monthly. It is a special fee, not everyone pays, but the apartment offers reserved spots. They are an extra $50 a month. The minute I leave, they pull their car there and refuse to move until I threaten to involve the apartment manager. They have a gigantic pairs of dogs that are aggressive and they let them run around without a leash, even though the apartment has a leash policy and the city does too. They like to empty their bleach, another cleaning supply water, over the railing and directly onto the front stoop of my apartment door. I have 3 times walked out to stinky pine sol or the alarming and strong smell of bleach all over my front. It ruined my potted plants outside. I have reported all the incidents. I have tried to ask them to cut it out. They don't care. I recently called the police non-emergency line about the noise and it turns out I am not the first to complain that day. The police came out and found some illegal drugs in the apartment or one of their guests. I'm not sure of how it was found. I stayed in my apartment and arrested some. Since then they have taken to recording me anytime I leave my apartment. They've been calling me racist and threatening to put it in the internet and get me fired. The woman of the couple has followed me to my car with my child in my arms and yelled about how I am impeding her ability to exist in public because I am racist. She says I called the police on her for doing nothing. I only called the police about a noise complaint at 1 AM because they were having a loud party and had refused my request at 12 AM to maybe keep it down a little because my daughter was trying to sleep. I understand I am white and as such have no idea of the struggle. I would never dream of telling them how to live life. I just don't want them to leave trash that seeps down my front door. Leaving trash outside is against apartment policy and ruins my things, park in the spot I pay for monthly and play loud music I can clearly hear in my home during quiet hours. She had thrown her dog's poop bags at my car. They have really upped the bleach game too. It has gotten on a few spots on my door and I am scared they might throw it at my car. I have asked my apartment to move me, but it is not feasible right now. I cannot break the lease for at least 3 more months. I cannot lose my job and I'm not sure how to protect myself legally. They are actually in my paid space right now, but I'm scared to have them towed because I don't know what they are going to do. I pay for that space. I have proof. The sticker on the front inside window matches the marked spot. If I tell the apartment, they will have the car towed, but I will look like a racist. all it takes is one video and a lie and I am ruined. I want to add that there are racists out there who deserve to be called out, and the overwhelming majority of those videos are true and tragic, and the white person in those videos deserves all the bad things that happens to them, but I think wanting to be able to sleep in the early morning hours and park in my own space that I pay for is reasonable, but maybe not. And guys, unfortunately, we have already reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's stories, and if you haven't already, please also go to patreon.com/ripeyoutube, where I upload exclusive Reddit videos starting at just $3 a month. This is a great way to support me in case you are interested, and the chance for me to become independent from YouTube revenue. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe and like the video, and I hope to see you again tomorrow.